everybody, this is Alexandrake, and today we're playing the Yet Once Again. Now, it has been a while, mainly because I've changed the sort of how I'm going to be releasing the videos. But I will be doing one of these per week, because I want to get to the end of the story. I need to know who dies, who lives, and if I was an idiot from the very beginning. It just needs to be known, okay? So, further ado, last time, from what I can remember, we was playing as Rebecca, who brutally attacked Ute, which was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I'm sure I'm going to feel guilty about his bad story, but I'm going to stay in that moment and enjoy the details of beating him up to pieces. It felt good. It felt really good. Further do's, yes to you, and see where this day leads us. Sounds good? Grand. The brief yo the past 2 days has offered its nice while it lasted. Or as nice as it tended while we're playing, the long-awaited dame teething between sheer optimism and despair. Her aunt arrived this morning has dampened the edge to that somewhat, though only by some. The uncertainty is still there, unspoken throughout the brief time we talked, simply hanging stiffly above our heads. Having another person with us, however, I can tell the same doubts has crossed her mind the second she saw her in that room. Aston himself doesn't get too hopeful when he left at night ago. It was a word yet strange, partly sold by my lingering anger and his exhaustion, but he has sullied atmosphere in the room nevertheless.
Like an ugly premonition.
And as suspected, just as things started to settle, steady and rhythm finally worms its way back to my routine. Thursday morning brings further disturbance to the now calm waters. With little ceremony, though, there's still enough to ripple through everything. In retrospect, I really should have seen this coming. Yet Spawn is a small city, relatively speaking. Compared to, say, London or Glasgow, it's nothing but a tiny mass of land boasting a mere population of 68,000. But those numbers alone are nothing to scoff at when standing in a busy street. If you pay close enough attention, face torting the crosswalk or riding the subway will soon grow familiar. How unfortunate that out of that number, it has to be Tio and you. I encountered more than once.
Oh, you know, a few problems popping up here and there that the agents failed to tell us somehow. Nothing a few hired hands can't fix, of course. I would have preferred a place near the city and something that's new to save us all the trouble, but darling wife insisted. Who am I to say no?
Are you kidding me?
His smut head is the first thing I see upon turning into the hall, in spite of the small crowd of parents, students gathered at the corridor for the primary careers day. It's not that he stands out, it's pretty unremarkable at first glance, frankly. However, it's his countenance that draws people's eyes to him. The man he carries himself with all the confidence in the world, his mere presence dwarfing everything around him. I wouldn't have made a bet he's always enjoying the attention it gives to him, especially the ones coming from the women.
What an ass.
There's no chance at him, and I know immediately that one way or another, if we ever bump into each other again, my day will effectively be ruined in some capacity. He also exudes that air. The sort that makes you want to run him over with an and pass it off as an unfortunate accident. Okay. With him, it's either you want to punch him or let yourself be charmed. There's no in between. I'd rather do the honour of the former myself, but yes, there are people around us. Now I'm stuck with having to face one of the two.
I shouldn't have volunteered.
At a time, helping out sounded a good idea. I've no classes yesterday until after lunch. To develop to stay at the teacher's lounge to work on my lesson plans, but that means being left alone with our deputy head and his chatter. He's dead mad, but trifles he didn't talk anyone's ears off. Not sure about that word. So the moment an opportunity arose, I jumped on it. It was a simple task to boot. Just leave a whole box of materials, a few posters for the event, maybe stay around to assist if time will allow it. Just wasn't spending him to show up here. I would have out of the frying pan into the fire. Had I known, I would have stayed and suffered through our deputy's improperative speeches about his life crisis instead. No idea, just don't pass through. What is done is done. Doing bad is out of the question. Found unexpectedly heavy and the load I'm carrying is, I hate to yet this for a trip back just because my pride can't take another setting of interaction with the die. He's insufferable, right? But I've had my fair share of dealings with teens of more order, yes, same temperament, all considerably younger than him, and they listen. If he wants to be difficult, you have to ask him, so be it, but he can't be bet his sorry English ass I'm not standing down. Yeah, for no other choice, I braced myself and sucked in the breath, mustering every bit of patience I have as I step into the hall. My grip on the box tightens when I pull it closer to me, attempt to assume Yo-T air as I amble towards the room. Box has not been enough to hide my face, even with the stuff piled on top, but if all else fails, I can just hit him with it. Oh my god. I didn't know this episode was still to be beating Ute. I have it. Still, a small prayer forms in my head. If there's even one yes and out there, please grant me enough restraint. Better yet, I hope he doesn't notice me at all. That definitely made my life easier. Seriously, how hard can it be? He's standing a few ways from the door, and there's plenty of people between us to use for cover. If I'm careful, I can just go in, hand in the stupid box to whoever's in charge, forget every plan of staying longer than necessary, step out as soon as I can. Easy as pie. But as that would have it, the sad moment I reach the room's threshold, something or someone barrels towards me. She yatches onto my waist before topping a sudden commotion with a gleeful squeal.
I knew it's you!
Demon child. The force of it nearly throws me off balance, sending the items stacked atop the box, tiny dangerously to the side. With the child's added weight at my waist, pinned me on the spot and both of my hands occupied, watching is the only thing I'm able to do. The short seconds in between shows everything gradually slides off the box's small surface. Under different circumstances, this would have been made for a funny story some other time. Tomato, even. Until another set of hands reaches out and stays the posters, threatening to take a nosedive right to the fuel.
Oh, careful now, Daisy. Don't make a mess here.
My entire body freezes. When hearing his voice, an irritating impulse to hit me immediately bubbles up. But before my yims to catch up with my brain is totally streaming at me, he moves to take the burden off my arms. Irritating different way to surprise, then confusion. It is in that moment when instant finally tits in, I turn the box closer to me before he can fully lift it off.
What are you doing?
What does it look like? You're surprisingly slow on the uptake for someone of your profession, aren't you? Bloody, doesn't this school have people for this kind of work? So much for being a center of academic excellence.
I'm going to ignore that slight to my alma mater and my work, because that's not what I'm trying to get at. You know what? Why don't we just rephrase that to something you'll easily understand? Why exactly are you doing this?
Well, you look like you could use a bit of help. Have you seen your face while you were heaving this around?
Mister, I'm pretty sure if there's ever a look on my face, it's entirely because I saw something extremely unpleasant this morning.
Aren't you a ball of sunshine today, Daisy? Having a bad day, aren't we?
Oh, you have no idea.
I'd put it away if I were you. You might scare the children.
You don't have to worry about that. This isn't my department. I was just asked to bring these. Anyway, I can handle this myself, mister. The room's just right over there. Behind you, in fact. Now, if you could please move over and make way, it would do the whole world some good.
Did my voice yevel throughout is a miracle in itself, but regardless of how polite my request is, he doesn't budge. Did what I've just said make shy of his head? Were my choice of words really that difficult to comprehend? Surely this shouldn't be that hard. In his head. I think he might be a little touched in the head. I had asked him that, actually, but Tai chooses that instant to pipe in.
Don't worry, Miss Pink. Tio's strong. You can leave this to him.
I don't trust you, demon child. I don't trust you. Ever see childish? Run away or throw it over a mountain. I don't care what you do. Just keep that thing away from me.
My papa does it lots of times, but I'm not allowed to talk about it to anyone. Tio says it's
Confidential, Munchkin.
That's right. Tio's smart, isn't he, Miss Pink?
I'm still of the opinion that he's a piece of shit. But I must admit his daughter's discipling is contagious as always. A smile makes its way to my lips. She is yet to budge from her place, though to be honest, I'm starting to use some feeling in my stomach with how tightly she's wound her arms around it.
I'm sure he is, Kylie. But I'm also sure he'll find better use for it elsewhere.
Like helping you out.
Oh, well, that's one thing, but
You heard the kid.
no one's asking you.
Oh, you wound me, woman.
And I'm quite certain I can do more damage than that. Shall we give it a try? Again?
He pales, stammers for a bit, until he ultimately decides against saying anything and settles for a brief show of discomfort instead. He's probably having flashbacks from the last time we met. His pose, when he finally regains some of his bearings, says it all. It's nothing short of hilarious, if I do say so myself.
I'll have you know that threats never work on me, Daisy. Not in a million years, not ever.
You're assuming it's a threat. How cute.
That too. I'm not scared of you. Just because you landed a hit.
Oh, do go on. Keep telling yourself that.
It was a fluke, you hear? I was caught off guard and your damn book left a dent. If I end up in a hospital because of what you did, I'm sending the chief of Luxburn Police after you, woman.
You don't say.
Just give me that bloody box.
Oh, he starts out of my arms before a single word of protest exits my mouth, and he quickly disappears behind the classroom. Not that it matters who brings it in now, my prior irritation has already melted into amusement. He's not so bad once you figure out how his temperament works. It's almost familiar to a child. Though I still have to ask.
Kylie, did your Tio eat something bad before coming here? He's unusually nice today.
Far-fetched idea, I know, but that's the only reason I can think of what this asshole is suddenly acting like a decent human he's quite frankly far from being. First and foremost, we didn't end our last meeting on a good note. If I were him, I would avoid the very person who put a dent on my style, as he so aptly put it. Why is he acting friendly 2 days later?
He always is. But I made him promise to be extra nice to you since you helped me so much. I think you're gonna be great friends.
I'd really stump on the urge to drone Yaudi and or Dad at that. He's the Asper I never want to be chummy with in his whole city, but Ty doesn't need to know that.
Are you sure it's not something he ate during breakfast?
I gave him some jelly babies this morning. Really brought me lots of them. Mama said I should share, so I offered half of it to Tio when he picked me up. He likes the black ones.
Oh, that's probably why he's weird. Jelly baby overdose.
He did have done everyone a favour and checked on them while he's out.
Do you want some? I've got more. I couldn't play Melody or Takako this morning, but I'm sure they'll be fine sharing some of it with you.
No, I'm not really very fond of them. I was just asking. Oh, where's your mum, by the way?
Out of town with Papa.
An unexpected pang hits me at her words. The statement, though innocent enough, unearths a whole trot of memories from childhood. So eerie familiar. Nights spent eating dinners alone, number of days coming home to an empty house growing with each passing year. And sometimes several Christmas Eves spent with relatives instead of, oh my goodness. Oh, the better. Oh, God. It's too late to think about it now, but when I remember the Del 8s is still there, familiar though, lessened by years now. So this is not exactly... So I wonder if the dose is going to target that, the yoniness. Hasn't it actually direct attacks? Not really. There's the Tar one, but it was more of a distance thing. It's just more like... Interesting. Besides me, Tai takes a step back, having gotten tired of clinging to me. There's nothing but cheer in her. He doesn't seem to be too affected by the fact. It all makes me wonder how much of it is real, and how much is there to match the uniqueness, if there's even one. What are you, child?
Weren't they informed of career day beforehand?
Yeah, I told them all about it. Mama was looking forward to it.
And they still left?
Uh-huh. It's important business, so it can't be helped. They promised to tell me about it when they come back tomorrow, though. Papa said he'll give me a gift if I behave. I've been a good girl, right, Miss Pink?
You always are. But they asked they asked your Tio to look after you? For this?
Nope, they didn't.
Wait, what?
No? Then how?
It was supposed to be Tia. Mama likes her better than Tio, so she asked her, but she's sick and had to visit the doctor today.
Oh, you mean Hannah?
Oh, that's supposed to be a secret, by the way. Oh, but I think it's a bit confusing because Tio said she also went shopping. That's unfair. Don't you think so, Miss Pink? Mama doesn't allow me to go out when I'm sick. It's still okay, though, since Tio always buys me sweets before we go home. I'm gonna ask for a parfait today, extra large.
I don't trust it. I don't trust this child. There's something near those eyes. Nah. There's something sinister behind those eyes.
Don't tell Takako, okay?
He doesn't tell you like this, it's easy to have a picture of where Tai's fondness for the dog comes from. She's far from a demanding child, and yes, you made a promise of some sort. She never forgets those. She'll make friends with anyone wherever she is. But her, a few fiends, and for her, you're settled. No wonder she's so attached to the man. The Deuce probably showers her with gifts whenever he can. Can't say if it's a sentiment, it's the same for the Yato, however. He doesn't seem the type, and probably just does it for the sake of getting some peace and quiet whenever he's with the girl. Just the techniques.
But before that, I'm gonna show him to everyone first. It's gonna be great. No one else has a gazillionaire fairy godfather. Also, when I grow up, I'm gonna be exactly like him and marry someone really handsome. Like Tia did. That way, I can be awesome too.
There's some sort of misguided logic in there, I actually dread. But before I can say my piece, the douchebag steps in, fresh out of the commotion from the classroom behind us, and plows in the conversation with every subtlety a wrecking ball has. No should div in despite no one asking for his opinion.
Munchkin, sweetie, trust me. You don't have to marry someone for that to happen.
I don't?
Just do your thing, darling. I'm quite sure you can do great things on your own without lugging around an extra baggage with you.
Tia married you.
Tai drops a statement without any sort of preface. The moment it yams, the Deuce finds himself grappling with the conversation.
Yeah, well, that's true, Munchkin, technically. But it's not the same thing.
A small frown creases the girl's eyebrows and she tries to jump ahead her Tio's rather vague explanation. It's not surprising even when you tenses under the child's questioning gaze. It's familiar. I've seen the same note a great deal of times before when asked him whether he's trying to say some quite phrase. Another sentence passes before the Deuce moves knee in front of Ty and placing both his hands on either side of her shoulders. Tyne is the last word I've ever used to describe the man, but in this minute there's a smile on his face that appears tender by all the means for someone as obnoxious as him. It is a curious thing to see, if not a bit odd.
Listen here, sweetie. Tia was already a great person before she met me.
Why are you being nice?
She is? But I don't see her doing anything. She's always at home.
Not always, Munchkin. Did you know she's really good at numbers?
You're good with them too. You helped me with my homework once.
Well, Tia's much better than me. She used to do maths with big numbers.
Oh, like millions?
No, gazillions. And she's really good at it. So much so that her dad let her manage anything that had to do with it. That was even before she met me, too.
Does that mean she's better than you?
Oh, leagues, Munchkin.
Huh.
Way, way better than I'll ever be.
For some reason, I don't think he's still talking about his wife's mathematical prowess as his voice trails off. In that, if I had not been paying close attention, I would have noticed the change in him. The slight shift in his smile for one that's tended to something wistful, yet remember a memory he has always been fond of but has often kept to himself. And the fleeting dance of it, a tiny insignificant part of the world, somehow also shifts. Pain is changing. Impressions moving.
You know what? Why don't you ask Tia next time you have homework,
Okay, next time I'll ask her to help out.
See? No need to marry a good-for-nothing bloke.
Can I also tell her to not stay at home anymore? If Tia's good at it, I'm sure she can help you out too. And Papa. He computes a lot of numbers too. Tia can help him.
You go do that. I'm sure she'll love to hear it, Munchkin, even if it's been a while since.
Never silence from him. Then, without missing a beat, he turned his tie around and lightly pats her shoulder in a gesture to end the conversation right there and then. Probably before he can say other things he would never intend to say, or a child is not meant to hear.
But off you go first. I think I saw your friend run off to the other classroom. The one with the pigtails? Go say hi to her. You still have those jelly babies to give her, yes?
All right. But wait for me, okay? I've got loads more to show you. They put up my drawing on the bulletin the other day. I'm gonna take you there later.
I can't forgive him for what he said to Zachary. I just can't. But I'm intrigued with what the hell is going on now.
I'll be back.
He still deserved to be attacked by Rebecca. She soon disappeared behind the small crowd, none of the wiser to the sudden change in the mood around her. Viewed strangers as soon as she does, and the expression on his face grows yes kind now that there's no one to reassure. Despite that, chatter still escapes me. His head he snaps me, and the chosen jeer tears in his eyes. Although it's just threatening now instead of what I've witnessed earlier. Funny how one's person's impression of someone can easily change with that minute's detail.
Why are you laughing like that?
Don't mind me. I just saw something surprising today. Don't let it bother you.
You know, putting it like that won't make me any less inclined to ask. What is it, woman? If this is another one of your threats, I've already told you it isn't going to work on me. That good teacher act isn't going to fool anyone.
What makes you think it has to do with you? I could have just remembered something funny. Not everything in this world revolves around you, mister.
I am not daft, Daisy. It's on your face for all the world to see. Now, say it so we can be done with this stupid talk.
They yelled another yaft. More to DA than to express any sort of amusement over the matter. In truth, I don't know where to start. One move, one word, and I might offend the man. You're good at handing her, you really think that. He's childish enough for that, and even with what I'm about to say, are just mere honest observation. You really think that you did it handing her? Frankly, I don't know. Either way, I'm not that. I'm intrigued more about him, but I'm not really bothered at the same time what option I picked. This is always a thing about his Zachary. Zachary.
You really think that?
Oh, I made it, Yoa. It's an honest question. Just no matter how much I turn it around inside my head, the gap between the man standing in front of me and the idea I have of him just won't connect. Not that the gesture will go a long way with him. Some of his demeanour tells me he's definitely not the kind of man who readily accepts such when you're different to him. Rather, he feels entitled to it from the get-go. So long as you're standing in the front of him, he expects it to be there, demands for it when he cannot see in you. And after all those insults we've heard at each other, I don't think it will matter much to him if I point out the ugly truths or brandish it in his face. As suspected, it doesn't throw him off in the least, and it's me raised a questionable brow at me.
About what?
About what you told Kylie. And don't you think she's a bit too young for that kind of talk?
Kylie's 6, Daisy, not an infant who still needs help changing her nappy. At her age, she can already handle more than that. Besides, it's better to nip this whole thing at the bud. You know, before she starts thinking that a man's ego defines her self-worth. I certainly don't need someone else to define me. Why should any godchild of mine do? So, do I really think that? Yes. Yes, very much so. Why shouldn't I?
All right, I get it. I'm sorry. You just didn't seem the type to me.
I tend to end the conversation right there and simply go my way. I don't have any business here, and our deputy's principal stories sound more enticing than the under I stand here. With the manner you almost ranting, I have a feeling this won't end if I say more. Though thinking about it, I should have yet to say he has taken the box from me. Naturally, he doesn't get the hint.
The type. And what, pray tell, would my type be according to your standards, woman?
The sort I'd happily bury alive.
Well, would you look at what's coming out of those pretty little lips? Watch the language, Daisy. You're supposed to be teaching children. What would ever happen to this nation?
You know what I mean.
Oh, and you somehow find that tidbit funny.
A little, I admit. That sort of wisdom is the last thing I expected to come from you. I mean, look at yourself. Pampered and pompous to the last hair. You've probably never been to this side of Luxbourne until a few days ago.
Daisy, just because I'm dressed miles better than the average bloke you see every day, doesn't mean I'm incapable of thinking on your level. Actually, I'm more surprised we aren't on the same page on this. I expected better from someone with enough balls to hit a random stranger with a bloody book. In public, mind you. Someone my goddaughter looks up to, even. Guess you can't have everything in this world,
What? Of course I'm...
Oh, I get it. Running on presupposed notions, aren't we? My, what a dangerous thing to practice for a teacher.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't have anything to do with...
What is it this time, I wonder? Oh, wait, don't say it, let me guess. What do those random gossips in this bloody city usually say? Oh, right. You probably think I'd go with clingy, spoiled kind, didn't you?
What? Where did that... How did you even come to that conclusion?
Oh, don't lie to me now, Daisy. But just so we're clear, if I wanted an arm decor, I'd have gone with the first brainless munter I picked up on the streets. I have standards, you know.
I haven't even said a word. I was just asking what you thought of it.
Oh, but you were thinking about it or else you wouldn't have asked. Might as well get it out of the way,
You are impossible.
So they say. Tell me something I didn't know, Daisy.
You... I really have no idea how anyone with half a brain can put up with you. Let me speak with your wife sometime. I'd love to ask her.
The ash remark just came out. There might be a silver of truth in it, but I shouldn't have phrased it like that. Even my own standards of that kind of person I'm talking to is still quite rude. Apologies already at my throat, but the minute I open my mouth, what I've prepared myself to say dissipates. Just the moment in front of me. He's turned gaze outside, staring at some point past the buildings, blotting the view of the sky, equally lost in his thoughts. He's a veteran man, and has so many standards, however, in this moment, the morning light streaming from the window yields his features a certain air. Softer, yes severe, than what he often flaunts. Might as well be a different man. There's a tender note in his voice, where he finds it, the words mutter under his breath, not intended for anyone but himself. Nevertheless, it reached my ears, unintentional as it may be.
You're right. She deserves someone far better than me.
All that talk about self-worth makes more sense now. It isn't some profound knowledge he pulls out of his ass, it has come about because he's already been there, yet he's still stuck in the middle of it. Preaching about your own personal experience is easier, after all. He has room for mistakes, more of a dose of self-loathing. What a commentator, man. Just when you thought you're already fitted him out, he does one thing and says the other. People like him are the most difficult to age, far harder to understand. Yet it might be exactly for this reason why some are easily charmed by him. It's that mystery that attaches them, of wanting to find out what's underneath the bravado. I tell myself I'm one of those, yet his winning personality isn't exactly my cup of tea. But sometimes once you get a glimpse of what's beyond the macho? I don't know. Emphasizing of the man isn't such a steep hill to climb. If the temple was science, we now share towards anything that is. Perhaps this is as closest for friendship as we can get. So insults thrown at around with a few shared shines in between, and that's not exactly a bad thing. He's not exactly a bad guy either, despite the awkward start we've had. Maybe it's for the reason that I can't resist throwing in a little comment to give his mood before even.
You know, Luke, you're not such a bad person.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I'm touched, Daisy.
Take it how you will, but a little attitude change would help. A lot.
Bollocks. Right, of course. Let me know when you're done with your lecture, ma'am.
And you can probably start by not leaving your wife out while you're having some quality time with your goddaughter. Who knows? Maybe that'll help change how the child sees her.
Where did you even get the idea I'm leaving my wife out? Have you ever even met?
No, but I did see her with you two last time.
His indifferent expression quickly dissolves into a confused style while I meet it with mixing perplexity. It's only been 2 days. Sure, his memory isn't that bad.
What? When was this?
At the cafe, after you left. She was sitting right beside you. Kylie was at the back and you were driving.
Daisy, are you sure you haven't accidentally hit yourself with your own book? Because that damn thing's quite big, and I'm really getting worried about you. It has only been a few days, and concussions can be dangerous. I suggest you have that checked.
Well, you asked. I just answered. It's pretty rude to make her wait like that, by the way.
How can I make her wait when she's not even with us?
What?
It was just Kylie and I that night.
Now you're just pulling my leg.
At Hells, beyond the drawn out is a patient rapidly changing the companionable air around us. In the face of it, I tense. I accidentally step into another minefield. Any chat that I've had with him so far has been like this. Why, it still surprised me, it escapes me, but above my worries of offending the man is my own bewilderment. I remember well enough that I saw that night, yet he says something pretty different. I'm sorry about it, but even I could tell that wasn't her. That didn't get right. Did you see the hair? That was in a state of spooky, horrifying stuff, okay? Remember, it was plainly obvious that it wasn't an actual person.
Wifey was out with Kylie's mummy that night. She wasn't with us. How do you think I ended up on babysitting duty?
But in the front seat. And Kylie's...
Miss Pink!
Oh, what do you want, demon child? Tiny sobs reach my ears first, and then her familiar weight returns around my waist again. Hot tears seep through my brows as she buries her face in it, her arms winding tightly around me. You and I briefly exchange worried glances, his own lips shut tight with concern. Her tries are soft enough to not attract much attention. Most of the visitors have been ushered inside the rooms by now anyway. Those who are still yonder though watch our little droop with great interest and concern. If we don't get a better handle of the situation, I have a feeling you will start yelling at everyone soon. Dean, I gently pull the door away from me, cupping her face and wiping away tears, tracing the little trails on her cheeks. Her mouth is drawn in a miserable pout when she peers up at me.
All right, Kylie. Calm down. What happened?
It's my friend!
That's a little too vague, Munchkin.
Let her speak, Luke. Who is it, Kylie? Melody? Or was it the other one?
Yeah.
Did the two of you fight?
She nods and immediately champ up after getting her sobs to imitate the story instead, or as much as her shaking of shoulders can tell me. Right behind me, Luke gives me a nervous huff while he shifts on his feet. He must not be used to handling children crying. Or worse.
Sweetie, I won't be able to help you if you don't tell me what happened.
Seconds pass before she responds then. Tears already dawn when she finally musters the strength to talk, her cries subsiding to mere sniffles.
I wanted to give her the rest of the jelly babies, but she won't come out.
Where? Where is she?
In the little girl's room.
Is she still there?
Another nod.
She won't say what's wrong. I kept asking her, but she told me to go away.
Okay.
Career day's going to start soon. I saw the prizes Miss Alice will give us for good. She's gonna miss it.
Is that what you told her?
Yeah, she won't listen. She won't even take the jelly babies. After I saved it for her, too. Tia Luke wanted to eat the red ones, but I told him it's not for him. Miss Pink, can you talk to her? Tell her to come out, and I'm really upset with her.
Ah. Just a little childish argument then. Charles says I'm dad, I teach teenagers mature enough for petty squabbles. I do love being around children, I won't mind having one or two of my own in the future, but it takes a whole different level of patience to teach several of them. I honestly admire my colleagues who willingly took the challenge. Honestly, I leave this for the homeroom teachers to fix, but I can't just ignore the impure Nietzsche suits me. That's another weakness. I have to steel myself for dance before I ever think of having one of my own. For now, I live into it.
Okay. Tell me where she is, sweetie.
Sighing, I stand up and gesture for her to lead the way. You trails quietly behind us. Even with the small distance in between, his apprehension is palatable, understandably so. No one wants to be taught in the middle of a children's spat. But in the end, this is just part of my job. I can't just shy away from it, can I? Oh, I feel the ghosties are coming in now. Ty escorts us to adjacent hall. It is loud, the tall doors, and the room's lingering, its sides are empty. Save for the gentle rushing of the eaves, the twittering of birds outside, and the tapping of our foot against the floor, the whole area stays eerily quiet. Wait, are we both going to see the dose? That'd be interesting. Not unusual, though. This is the part of the building reserved for the club activities at the end of the school day, and with the rest of the school busy with another event, it's only natural for it to be this deserted. Come afternoon, right after class, I'll be once again be filled with people. For the first time, being I focused on the toilets at the far end, heading straight for it. Hugh stays behind, opting to wait for the end of the drama instead of obviously not wanting to deal with another person's tid. Meanwhile, Charlie follows right after me, unusually silent as we approach the ladies' room. Sometimes before we made the turn down the hallway, she has stopped sniffing and starting to sing a tune under my breath.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Demon Child! Probably to brace or tell myself, or maybe this is her way of preparing to pull her friend out of the salt. No! Demon Child! It certainly reminds me of another person. I made no remarks on it, however. It's all part of growing up, they say yet again. The door is slightly ajar when we get to it, and from inside the sobs of Del Etelwichi, barely audible, even in the time of hush. Turns out Ty is not the only one upset about this. Despite the situation, a smile forms in my lips as I call out to her friend.
Hello? Hello there? You're Kylie's friend, aren't you? Melody, is it? She's looking for you.
Children can be so amusing sometimes. Granted, they can be exasperating, especially on this age, but the endearing themes around them outweighs those. All you need is enough level of patience.
Career day's about to start, too. You'll have to come out, or you're going to be really late for it. Miss Alice won't be happy if one of her kids isn't there. I heard she brought little gifts for everyone who'll behave. Don't you want to receive one?
However, tries show no signs of abating. They only grow the elder. Not close to a wettle. They are ring regardless.
Are you okay?
From where I'm standing, it sounds almost like she's in some kind of pain. It's not impossible. They do that at times, hiding what ails them from the fear of reprinement. If it's like that, torturing her out might not be useless. It also makes sense why she chooses the U furthest from the classrooms. Wasting no time, I just retired to wait and amble towards the door, timing so I don't alarm her. At the same time, a distant sense of deja vu hits me. I've been in this position before, behind a door with someone trying on the other side. My tools ignore that the tries grow into a whale. Just this past week, actually. Even so, being in the same situation before doesn't bring any comfort. I'm pulling up for the child beside me. It is a fit on the torrent of worry and ticking into my stomach. I take one last breath, then I nudge open the door. It all happens in the span of seconds. I don't make it past 2 steps into the room. Her tries abruptly stop. The light footsteps shuffle behind me, come to a halt at the door. My heart skips a beat. And when I turn...
Kylie?
Ha ha! Hi, demon!
Miss Pink? Miss Pink? Why didn't you help her?
My whole body becomes motionless at the sight of her, her words catching in my throat, heart pounding rapidly against my chest. This is Tari, I'm sure of it. Yet nothing at the manner she speaks or the way she tilts her head in question carries the youthful, innocent vibe she always brings with her. As I merely getting at the dead whole intimidation of the child.
Can't you hear her? She's asking for your help.
But it's not those that trigger a memory. It's those chilling eyes. Calling. Bettering.
Why won't you listen to her?
All at once the memory returns to me. A tide that has receded and now returns to shore with an overwhelming force, carrying image of a single moment from days ago. Of a world passing by in a blur of a feature I can barely discern under the little yike there was. Not even a week has passed. In this minute, while I keep my eyes trained on the child before me, they return with such unbearable clarity. There are no horrid wounds this time, no blood streaming down a pale face. Thank heavens. Just lips contorted into a small, twisted smile. The brim of fervent I've never expected to ever seen a child, sent tiny pinpricks of dread crawling up my limbs and weighing up my neck.
You're a bad person. People like you deserve to die.
I can't breathe. Those whispers and yafters are then, judging, mocking, taunting. Each staggering word reading sharp and true against my ears. My throat closes in. My whole body tenses. A chill settles at the tips of my fingers, every digit gone rigid on the toad. With every single drawn of breath, any struggle for air or freedom, the tools wrap around my body tightly, dragging me down. A gradual, torturous descent into another bottomless abyss. On, and on, and on, until I lost touch with myself and the world. What?
Help me!
Into darkness claims me, and, unexpectedly a note, in the distance, harsh, piercing, cutting through the thick spur, shattering the haze without warning.
Are you ladies done with your business here? I don't have all morning to wait for you two.
My eyes snap open, the world shifts into place with a rapid gasp. When I glance up, a different set of eyes greet me.
Are you okay, Miss Pink?
No anger. No foul hatred in them. Just pain, sincere concern. Bit by bit, I become aware of my surroundings, and my self of warmth steadily seeps back to me. I reached out to the nearby town to steady myself at some point, and my knuckles had gone white with how rigid my grip on it is. It's over now, yet the tension has left my body. My heart still hammers hard against the chest in a erratic rhythm, and breathing still comes in a short, shallow burst. For me, Tai fumbles with her hands, and utterly unsure of what to do to an adult in what's probably a affable state.
Did you get sick? I'll call Tio, okay? Stay here and don't move.
No. No need. Just leave me alone.
Tio will know how to fix you. Oh, wait, okay?
I wish I didn't speak reassurance to her, but I can't shake it off. The dread is there, twisted in my inside in anticipation. Of what? I'm no longer sure. Push myself off the counter, I break off into a run. Brushing off an anxious yet tired diss me when I gently push her away on my way out, or the furry in Ute's brow when I stumbled into him outside. What they both saw on my face, I dare not to know. Bloody hell, I don't even understand what's happening anymore. Okay. The tremors continue even after the yas on my classes have ended. Although none of my students have comment on it, I've taught a few sharing anxious answers every time a pen slips from by hand or by shoulder or tension, whatever is taught. How unusual it must have been for them to see a normally composed Miss Dales become a bundle of nerves. Even the most boisterous ones that have given me yes grief today. You think being my fourth cup of tea would provide any sort of comfort? Ooh. Or is this the fifth? What does intelligent matter now? The fact that I turned easily shaded off this time should tell me something. The last time this happened, I passed it off as some yaps in my part or after having been sick the week before.
And it is a natural conclusion.
Those are just stories, centuries old yore passed by Yoshis to teach children in the eye. What place doesn't have those? One of my dad's books even went as far as to describe them as strong part of a Ysabella's culture. Tree giants, women who fed on unborn children straight from a mother's womb, or hell. There's even one story about a demon baby. Okay, what's going on here? All folklore that I never had a smidge of truth in must probably told to stir off natives there back in the old days, much at every one in every other place. The world is more universal than people dare to think. But isn't that from where I'm standing now, after staring right into the eyes of that woman, after all the things I've been hearing and feeling? Perhaps there's more to that bloody yet than some awful harrowing prank. Oh, she's starting to believe. Perhaps
Isabella's right all along.
A terrible thing if true. Though that thought doesn't linger any on. Thankfully, soon the rain of my mobile takes my attention away from it. Oh, wait, what? I don't know your name flashes before me once the screen lights up and my brows knit together. Marianne never contacted her. From our thing, did she? Marianne McConaughey. Staring hand at the screen, I try to remember when I've entered this person on my contact list. Takes a moment, but then it tips my eyes series in on the book lying wide open on my table. The owner from the Ivy room was a week ago. I met the woman there by strange coincidence, a fellow history buff apparently. We were after the same book, but in the end she gave it to me on the suggestion that I should call her once I'm done. To be honest, I'm pretty forgot about it now I haven't actually taken a peek at it until today. I'll be done with the whole volume of the size in a few days. I've taken it out, about 1 or 2 depending on how busy I am. But finding a chance to sit down and read through it has been more difficult yet than I anticipated. One moment I'm busy, simply reading worksheets, attending a movie premiere in the nets, and someone suddenly inviting me out of one reason or another. Days later, a friend ends up in a trauma centre of the Yoto hospital and fighting for her life. There simply isn't enough time to breathe and get the grip on things. I have been flipping through pages of said books moments ago, though nothing really reading anything to me, hoping for a distraction. To no avail. My phone gives out another ring, and at this time I do not hesitate to answer.
Marianne?
Hello! Here I was starting to wonder if it was a bad time to call. Is it?
No, not at all. I dismissed my last class a few minutes ago. I'm pretty much free for the rest of the afternoon. Unless something comes up. Is this about last time? The book?
Not really. I was hoping to ask you about some other thing.
What?
Oh, sure. What about?
You grew up in this city, didn't you?
It's a peculiar question asked to someone you just met, but I answer her never yes. I'm not sure as where she's heading with this by starting with that.
Born and raised, 3rd generation migrant. Why do you ask?
So, you must be familiar with the local lore. The, stories?
Did she ring? I remember she rang.
Quite. If I'm going to teach about history, I'd like to think I am, yeah? But a family friend would be a better person to ask. If you want, I can contact him for you.
No, let's just keep this thing between us, okay? It's nothing too big. Alright. I really don't know how else to put this without sounding a bit crazy. But things have been really, odd. Do you remember the mansion I mentioned back when we met? My current project?
In hindsight, I should have expected it would lead to this. She must have not have lived here yon. She's just asking about this now. It didn't take a week with Isabella when she arrived, but that Isabella's superstition is down to the ass hair. Though it won't be too far off to think Marianne has only started thinking about this recently. She's working on the damn house itself. I must admit, even though I'm curious now, despite living here for so many years and having so many chances to yut it up before.
The Ermengarde mansion, yes?
Yes, that one. And, the thing is, oh dear, this is a bad idea. You know what? Just forget I ever called you about this. It must have been the sunny weather. It's making me sick and see stupid things.
See things?
No, wait. It's all right. I don't mind.
There's a moment pause before she responds to then. She's right in that this silly thing talked about, especially between what I'm assuming two people who are pretty drowned on their beliefs with regards to these things. I won't blame her if she hesitates.
I can't believe I'm asking you about this.
It's fine. Why don't you just think of it as some form of research?
Well, all right. But after this, we're going to forget we ever had this talk.
Apparently I did, because I don't remember this.
My lips will be sealed. Now, what is it about the mansion?
Just, what do you know about it? The general gist. The place's past. What happened to the owners? Anything you can give me.
Let's see. To start off,
I do my best to give her a concise summary from that time the house was commissioned 400 years ago and who had it built. Up to the point it got deserted after the last heir died and the deed was passed on the Ermengarde's nearest relatives. Frankly, if it weren't for those urban legends persisting, the house would have already faded to obscurity long ago. Demolished even. They're all of nothing she probably hasn't heard of before, yet their dissatisfaction in her tone once I finish.
That's all there really is to it?
as far as I know. There's this little bit I forgot to mention about Lady Charlotte Ermengarde's death, but most of those are just theories. Aside from that, this is really everything we've been teaching all these years. Should there be anything more?
No mention of any other weird stuff? Other crazy stories? Or a letter of some sort?
My blood runs toes. Any warmth or time for the tea I've drank has given me prior has instantly been drained out of me. The phone treats softly as my light hold on it turns to a firm drip. This whole Yetta bullshit is starting to turn into more of a coincidence.
None that I've heard or read of. What does a letter have to do with this?
Oh, no. It was just something I came across. Ignore it. Random thoughts, you know? By the way, I need to run. Thanks for answering my questions.
She answered to abruptly with only a tip to buy, leaving my mind heavy with even more thoughts. The mood around my classroom has done considerably denser in light of what little I've gleaned from that conversation. I don't think Marianne's lying about her intent. Her interest is genuine, I'll give her that, but she's left a lot of things out. I did essentially only ask because something happened around her too, and if she hadn't mentioned the actor, I probably wouldn't have made the connection.
Just what the hell did we get ourselves into?
Of course, there's still a lot of confusing details in this. All these are just assumptions. No concrete conclusions to be formed with what we have, and if we want to find out what we're really dealing with, I think Marianne's right. There might be something more into these stories as observed by the sounds. The very place that gives us that Yetta might tell us something beyond what we know. And tomorrow night, I have a few hours of that chance at the housewarming party. Certainly not to decide in thought, since the place is privately owned now, I can't just wander around. But there's enough reason to keep the dread at bay, as I step out of the room ready to put an end to this day. Here he is. However, all these good vibes disappear into thin air when I run ahead first into Ute. There's really something in this man. Regardless of how much my opinion of him has changed over the span of a few hours, he simply blasts through every good impression people have of him without tear or thought. He doesn't even need to open his mouth, his mere presence does it. In all honesty, I think he's the kind of guy only a mother can yell.
You're still here?
Obviously. Who do you think standing in front of you?
An ass.
Oh, come on, Daisy. You've done better than that. Losing your touch?
Luke, I don't have time for this. I'm heading home, and your face is the last thing I want to see before I leave. What do you want?
Blatantly, I notice his hand. Partly raised, almost pose for a knot. At the slight lift of an eyebrow, he quickly drops it to the side and turns to Tayi. She stands a few steps away from him, holding her hands behind her back and tearing at something on the floor with the tip of her shoe. Then he proceeds to make the face gestures at me and the child. He resembles a fish flopping it for the air with the way he's moving his arm, though I think he's trying to urge her to speak up.
Munchkin, I thought you wanted to tell her something.
You do it, Tio.
This wasn't my idea, darling.
Don't worry. I won't tell Tia what you told me the other day. And this morning.
Ute at hell is rolling his eyes at the scene and maybe praying for the universe to grant him more patience. He knows he's in battle when he sees one. He may act worse than a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum at times, but he's no match for an actual child. Nothing better than being served a dose of his own medicine, huh? Once the frustration has completely been pretty prompt out, he points a rude finger at me. I do my best to stare the offending dish down, but I can already hear the demand before it evens out of his lips.
You, come with us.
What makes you think I will?
Because little Rugrat here is upset and worried, and it's your bloody fault. I've no idea what happened this morning, but if you don't come with us, I won't be hearing the end of it from her. So do me a favor, Daisy, and just be glad I'm inviting you.
You're asking for a favor, and you can't be bothered to be polite? I don't know. It's been a really busy day for me. I kind of miss my couch.
Daisy, you just say yes.
I pause, folks, almost too dramatic. Afterwards, his face twists into something between a grimace and a smile. As it happens, he appears yet he's in a yacht of physical pain. You think the man is destined the word is lost to me, but simply being polite.
Please?
Tio said it'll be his treat.
What? I said no such thing, Munchkin. I only agreed to this because you requested it. I'm under no obligation to feed her.
I promise I'll be quiet the next time I visit.
Oh, all right, but just one meal and make it the cheapest.
He and Aston would have yawned famously on that department. On a different front, the offer of a free dinner does sound enticing, however half-hearted I different it is. Most because Ty has wished she put on her puppy eyes by the second I find all my choices taken away from me.
See, Miss Pink? It'll be fun. You don't have to feel sad anymore, okay?
Oh, well,
My mobile buzzes from my pocket, cutting me mid-sentence, and for a second I spare from the act of giving an answer, I'll direct either way. Fishing the desert out, I wave a hand at him and excuse myself. A disgruntled expression is on Luke's face before I turn away. I'll be lying if I said that it didn't amuse me. He is easier to be done with this as I am, but what can I do? Chat a message from Ashton shows up. Hey Betta, I'll be around at Saving Well this evening. Need to meet someone in this area. Might have to drop by yours and Isabel's place after. See you. Oh. Just the usual. And what he does is actually, Aston has the decency to let us know when he's dropping by or he's in the area for some business. From the way it's phrased, it sounds to be the Yatta. In a way, I'm glad he's at least aware of the boundary, not that Isabella's ever done to let him leave the building unscathed if he ever pulls the same stunt he does with the other man. I cringe to imagine what she'll do to him. Except she won't be there if that scenario was ever come to pass while she's stuck in that hospital. Sighing, I slipped the gadget back to my pocket, but getting up to see Yute's utter impatience on his face, I now face a different dilemma. Two of them are still waiting, and knowing that kind of person Yute is already a grand gesture of goodwill coming from him. All to pieces, Dogchild. His snarls aside, it's easy to tell he's really fond of Chai from his actions alone. I kinda hate to ruin that.
Well, Daisy, we're waiting here.
On the other hand, there's Ash. This message isn't exactly implies he's gonna wait, or he's expecting me to be there, but there's matters I hope to discuss with him in person, to put it simply, housewarming party matters. With him fighting Isabel out of the question, I only have Satori and Ashton. Although the former has already made it clear he'll be busy this week, and while Ashton has been my first choice from the start. Even after what I heard, or the fact that detests attending gatherings like this, it's company that counts. We can be miserable together. But that's the problem, isn't it? He hates them, and it's very likely his answer will be a flat no. I'd rather not hear that. If by some miracle he agrees to it, he'll probably be insulting the whole party. Not really a tough choice, but when you put it like that, still. Tough choice, but I have to pick one. I have other things to do. Okay, but only because of Tai asked. The thing is, my thinking is, right, if I go to find Ash, from what I can think of that dialogue, is that I'm going to be waiting on my own for him to appear, you see. And when I did that with Satori, things happen, which are fine, and frankly, I don't want another character to be stuck in a situation. Because Satori's fine. He's fine. And also, I just kind of see what this would yield. But then I am hanging out with Demon Child and Vampire Boy. Oh, what the hell. I'll just see what it yields to. Oh! I raised it. In the end, it's my own fondness for Tai that wins out. Chances are it's the only I have to endure his presence for an hour or so. If it asks more than that, I can made up excuse to send talk from a friend or things to work on. It doesn't seem so bad when I think of the pros and cons. At best, it'd be at a quiet dinner. At worst, it'd be an awkward affair we're both eager to be rid of. I'm leaning more on the latter, hoping for the former of course.
Okay, but only because Kylie asked.
Ty's face instantly yikes up. For the third time today, she touches me into a hug before pulling away and dragging me by the hand towards the building's exit.
That's alright. I'm sure Tio doesn't mind. He let me pick where we're going to eat. Don't worry, it's just close.
You'd follow straight behind. Perhaps out of some decide to keep the dead air away, I can't resist throwing in a quip.
Keep your distance. You better not do anything funny, you hear?
I'm the one who should keep my distance.
May I remind you who approached me first and what you did right after?
Oh, I remember it clearly. But perhaps it's you who needs a reminder. You seem to have never learned your lesson. Care we give it another try? Maybe this time it'll stick.
Maybe this time it'll stick. You think your scary mouth show you what's scary?
To the surprise, his tone yaks the usual sardonic note in it. I pause to stare at him. He quickly shuts his mouth right after and walks ahead of us. All talk and no tries to the usual, and for the better part of our walk, except for Ty's excited chatter, we don't speak. Somehow I have this strange feeling I'm already getting used to this kind of banter with him. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. Amidst the newfound friendships, though I call it that, Ashton meshes Ye's forgotten and abandoned in my pocket. Dinner date. Oh. Well, this true as well as she. Frankly, because I have no idea if anything I do makes any sense. If I have a reason for why I choose what I do. It's just chaos at the end of the day. And sometimes I make good choices and bad choices. I just feel with it. This is how this game works for me. But further ado, I'm going to leave you on this. And we'll catch up to what this date or something will lead to. And whether something comes of it or maybe something happens to Ashton. Who knows? But further ado, so I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you very soon with some more, the next week or so. So, farewell, and I'll see you all soon. Ciao.